Okay, so you want to start a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these amazing ideas swirling around,
Mm-hmm.
but then reality hits.
Yeah.
You realize all the work involved,
Mm-hmm.
all the tech, the marketing.
The editing.
It's enough to make anyone feel a little overwhelmed, right?
Definitely. It can feel like you're trying to, I don't know, build a rocket ship in your garage.
That's a lot.
Yeah, there's the microphones, the recording software.
Figuring out how to even get your audio online.
Right. And then you've got the whole other side of it.
Oh, yeah.
Building an audience.
Creating content for social media, writing show notes. Ugh, it's a lot.
It can be enough to make you want to just give up before you even start.
Exactly. And that is where I hear this thing called the podcast doctor comes in.
Exactly.
They're like, what, a pit crew for your podcasting journey?
Yeah, they take care of all that technical stuff, the logistics, so you can just focus on the important part.
The content.
Yeah, your content.
Okay, so tell me more about this podcast doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the brains behind this operation?
So the guy running the show is Phil Bird.
Phil Bird.
He's a podcasting pro based in Orlando, built this company from scratch.
Okay, so what's his story? What makes him the podcasting guru?
Well, his story is actually pretty interesting. He had a really bad stutter as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Got teased a lot, unfortunately. And his speech therapist actually recommended that he listen to radio hosts.
To help with his stutter.
Yeah, to help with fluency. And that kind of sparked this whole, fascination with audio.
Wow, so he turned a challenge into a passion?
Exactly.
That's great.
He started recording his friends, making videos, even joined the AV club in high school.
I love that.
Yeah, he was drawn to, the power of audio. You know, how it can connect with people, tell stories.
Share ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So this wasn't just a hobby for him.
No?
Sounds like it was more like a calling.
Yeah, absolutely. And that passion led him to a career in radio.
Oh, wow.
He worked his way up, honed his skills at some pretty big names in Orlando.
Like
Real Radio 104.1, 740, The Game, even ESPN Orlando.
Hold on, he went from a kid who stuttered to working at ESPN. That's quite a journey.
Yeah, it really is. And it says a lot about him, his dedication, his talent.
He clearly understands audio.
Deeply.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why he's the expert here.
Yeah.
But how did he go from radio to starting the podcast doctor?
Well, after years in radio, he saw podcasting start to, just explode.
Yep.
And he realized a lot of people had amazing stories, great ideas, but they were struggling to get their podcasts going.
Because of the technical stuff.
All the technical stuff. It can be really overwhelming.
Especially if you're not, a tech person.
Exactly. And Phil had this vision, right? He wanted to make podcasting easy for everyone.
Accessible.
Yeah, accessible. No
Right.
matter what your technical skills were or even your budget.
So he took a leap of faith.
Huge leap of faith. Left his job at ESPN and started the podcast doctor.
Wow, that's bold. Leaving a secure job to pursue a passion. That takes guts.
It really does. It shows just how committed he is to making podcasting, less scary.
And more accessible.
Yeah, especially for new creators.
Okay, so what exactly is the podcast doctor? What makes them different from all the other podcasting services out there?
So they're a full-service podcast production company, but it's more than that. They handle everything.
Everything.
From recording, editing, to marketing, distribution.
So a one-stop shop for all your podcasting needs.
Exactly. And what really sets them apart is their focus on speed.
Speed.
Efficiency and expertise. Phil's years in radio, they've given him this incredible understanding of audio production.
And he's built a team that shares that same, commitment to quality.
And fast turnaround time.
Fast turnaround. That's
Yeah.
huge. I've heard nightmare stories of people waiting weeks, even months, to get their episodes edited.
Yeah, and that's where the podcast doctor really shines. They offer live editing.
Live editing? What does that even mean?
They edit your podcast as you record.
Whoa, wait. So you finish recording and boom, it's done. A polished episode ready to go.
You got it. No more waiting around for post-production.
So you could record on Monday, and it could be up on Spotify by Tuesday.
Exactly.
That's amazing. I mean, for someone with a busy schedule, that kind of speed is invaluable.
Absolutely. And it all comes down to Phil's expertise, his commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
So he's constantly innovating, using the latest technology.
Yes, streamlined processes.
All to make podcasting as smooth as possible.
Yep.
Okay, I get why the podcast doctor is getting so much buzz. But for our listeners who are new to all this, what are the biggest challenges new podcasters face? And how does the podcast doctor help them overcome those challenges?
I think one of the biggest hurdles is just knowing where to even begin.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You know, new podcasters, they're often intimidated by all the technical stuff.
Choosing the right microphone, the software, understanding levels, editing.
It's a lot.
And don't even get me started on the marketing side of things.
Right, that's a whole other beast.
So many people pour their heart and soul into making this great content, and then they have no idea how to get it out there.
Exactly.
So how does the podcast doctor help with all this?
Well, first of all, they provide expert guidance.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. From that initial consultation where they help you refine your concept, figure out your target audience,
Okay.
to the recording and editing process, making sure you sound polished and professional.
So it's like having a podcasting mentor.
Exactly.
Someone there to guide you through the process.
Someone in your corner.
Yeah.
And when it comes to marketing, they don't just throw you out there to fend for yourself.
Ooh.
They create custom marketing strategies. They help you build a presence on social media. They even produce short video content to promote your podcast.
On places like YouTube, TikTok.
Exactly.
Wow. So they really do handle it all. It sounds like they're taking all the stress out of podcasting, letting creators just focus on what they love.
That's exactly it. Creating great content, connecting with their audience.
That's their mission.
That's the mission. To empower anyone with a story to tell, an idea to share, to launch a podcast successfully. And without getting bogged down in all the technical details.
Okay, I'm sold. But what about the cost? All this expertise, all this support, it's got to come with a hefty price tag, right?
Actually, that's another area where the podcast doctor really stands out. They believe podcasting should be accessible to everyone. So they've made their services incredibly affordable.
Really? Affordable and high quality. That's a rare combo these days.
I know, right? But Phil's passionate about this. He wants to make podcasting a level playing field.
He understands that most new podcasters aren't exactly rolling in dough.
Exactly. He doesn't want cost to be a barrier.
That's great to hear. It's clear he's not just in it for the money. He genuinely wants to help people succeed in this world.
He does. And that passion translates into a level of dedication and support that you just won't find anywhere else.
I'm impressed. Really impressed.
Yeah.
We've learned so much about the podcast doctor already, but there's still so much more to cover.
Yeah.
Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the specifics of their services. We'll be talking all about the power of video podcasting in our next segment.
It's going to be good.
It is. Welcome back to our deep dive into the podcast doctor.
We're uncovering how they're helping people everywhere make their podcasting dreams a reality.
Before the break, we were just blown away by their commitment to speed and expertise.
Especially that live editing. It's like magic, right?
It's wild. Imagine finishing an interview and bam, you have a fully edited episode ready to go.
I know. It's crazy how they do it so fast.
Phil and his team have their workflow down to a science.
Definitely. Their systems are top-notch. That's how they can offer those quick turnarounds, without sacrificing the quality.
Yeah, it's a total game changer, especially for busy creators. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are some of the services the podcast doctor offers that make them so appealing, especially for those who are new to this whole podcasting thing?
Okay, so let's say you have this awesome podcast idea, right? But the tech stuff, it's totally intimidating.
Yeah, that's a common fear.
Right. The podcast doctor takes all that stress away. They'll help you choose the right microphone, set up your recording software, even coach you on how to sound your best when you're recording.
Oh, that's so important. So many people struggle with those technical hurdles early on. Having that guidance would be huge.
Totally. And it doesn't stop there. They take care of comprehensive show notes, catchy episode titles, and they automate the publishing process to all the major platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it.
So they're handling all that behind-the-scenes stuff that can be so overwhelming when you're first starting out.
Exactly. They're taking care of the technical heavy lifting so you can just focus on creating engaging content.
Building a relationship with your listeners.
Exactly.
And speaking of connecting with an audience, we have to talk about video podcasting.
Yes!
The podcast doctor seems to be all in on this trend, and I'm curious why.
I think this is where Phil's vision really comes in. He's not just following trends, he's anticipating them. He saw early on that video podcasting was going to be huge, and he built the podcast doctor to be at the forefront of that.
So why video? Why add a visual component to what's traditionally been audio only?
There are so many benefits. Think about it. With video, you can see the host, their expressions, their body language.
You see the energy.
Yeah, the energy, it creates a deeper connection.
That's a great point. It's like taking a phone call and turning it into a face-to-face conversation.
Exactly.
You get so much more personality through video.
Way more nuance. Plus, you can add in things like graphics, slides, B-roll footage.
Enhance the content.
Yeah, make it even more engaging.
Don't forget about social media.
Oh, right.
Video clips, they're made for sharing, especially on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
That's so true. The Podcast Doctor gets that. They're experts at creating those short, attention-grabbing clips that are perfect for social media. It helps you reach a wider audience and build your following faster.
So they're not just producing your podcast, they're helping you market it, promote it. That's a huge value add.
Big time. And it all goes back to their mission, right? Making podcasting accessible and successful. They want to empower creators, help them share their voices with the world.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to see a company so committed to their clients' success. They're going above and beyond to give people the tools they need to really make it in this competitive podcasting world.
It's what sets the Podcast Doctor apart, for sure. It's not just about the tech, the services, it's about that human connection.
The passion.
The genuine desire to see their clients succeed.
And people pick up on that.
They do.
It's clear that Phil and his team are invested in their clients' journeys.
Yeah.
And that makes a world of difference.
It does. And we can't forget, all of this is available at a really affordable price.
Right. That's something we talked about before.
Phil is determined to make podcasting accessible for everyone, no matter what their budget is.
It's so refreshing to hear that. It's not always the case, you know.
I know.
This industry can feel kind of exclusive sometimes.
Yeah.
Expensive. To have this level of expertise and support available at a price that's actually manageable, that's incredible.
It speaks volumes about Phil. His commitment to making podcasting truly open to everyone.
Okay, we've covered a lot. I'm ready to start recording my own podcast. But for our listeners who might still be on the fence, maybe feeling a little hesitant, unsure about all of this, what advice would you give them?
You know, the great thing about the Podcast Doctor is you don't have to have it all figured out before you reach out.
Right.
They actually encourage you to book a free consultation, even if you're just starting to think about podcasting.
That's great. So no risk involved. You can get personalized advice, brainstorm with an expert, and see if podcasting is a good fit for you.
Exactly. You can chat with Phil directly, tell him your podcast idea, get feedback, ask questions.
Just like having a podcasting coach in your corner.
Totally. And even if you decide podcasting isn't for you, at least you'll have a better understanding of how it all works.
I love that. It's so reassuring for anyone who's been dreaming of starting a podcast, but feels intimidated by all the work involved.
Yeah. And that's the feeling the Podcast Doctor wants to get rid of. They want to empower you, not intimidate you.
They want to help you find your voice.
And share it with the world.
It's a powerful message, and it's clear they're living it. But we're not done yet.
Not quite.
Stay tuned, because we're wrapping up our deep dive into the Podcast Doctor, exploring the future of podcasting.
And leaving you with some thought-provoking questions to ponder.
And we're back. Wrapping up our deep dive into the Podcast Doctor. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. Exploring their services, their philosophy, the impact they're having on the podcasting world.
We talked about how they're making podcasting more accessible, more affordable.
More enjoyable.
Yeah, more enjoyable. But I want to zoom out a bit. What does all of this mean for the future of podcasting?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't think the Podcast Doctor is just riding this wave of popularity. I think they're actually shaping the future of podcasting.
How so?
They're breaking down barriers, giving new voices a platform.
Yeah.
Creating a more diverse, dynamic podcasting landscape.
I see what you mean. They're making it easier for everyone to participate.
Exactly. And that emphasis on video podcasting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's not just a trend for them. It's like they understand it's an integral part of podcasting's evolution.
Like they're ahead of the curve.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they're not just adapting to it, they're embracing it. Giving their clients the tools to really leverage the power of video.
To connect with audiences on a whole new level.
Exactly.
It's like they're saying, hey, podcasting isn't just about audio anymore. It's about creating a multisensory experience. Visually engaging, shareable across different platforms.
Exactly. That's what's so exciting about the future of podcasting.
What do you mean?
It's becoming more immersive, more interactive, more visually captivating. And the Podcast Doctor is a big part of that.
I can almost see a future where video podcasts are the norm and audio-only podcasts become like this niche thing.
It's already starting to happen. We're seeing more and more creators adding video.
Platforms like YouTube are really prioritizing video content.
Oh, definitely. And that's where the podcast doctor's expertise really shines. They're not just slapping a camera on you, you know?
Right.
They're creating high quality visuals, content that's made for different platforms, designed to grab your attention.
It's like having a whole video production team at your disposal.
Exactly. And again, it all ties back to their mission.
Making podcasting accessible, successful.
Yep. Removing those obstacles,
Yeah.
technical hurdles, creative hurdles, the things that used to hold people back.
It's inspiring to see a company that's not just about making money.
Right.
They're genuinely dedicated to empowering creators.
Shaping the future of podcasting.
And that makes this deep dive more than just a review of a company, doesn't it?
It does. It's like a glimpse into the future of content creation, audio and video. A future where anyone with a story to tell, an idea to share, can reach a global audience.
A future where the power of storytelling is amplified by technology, by accessibility.
Mm-hmm. A future where those barriers are lower, where the possibilities are endless.
It's a future I'm excited about.
Me too.
So to anyone listening who's ever thought about starting a podcast,
Yeah.
or maybe you're already podcasting but you're struggling with the tech, the marketing,
Mm-hmm.
take a chance. Reach out to the podcast doctor.
Seriously, you won't regret it. Their expertise, their passion, their commitment to helping podcasters succeed. It's truly amazing.
And that wraps up our deep dive into the podcast doctor. I hope this was insightful, maybe even a little bit inspiring.
We encourage you to learn more. Check out their website, listen to some of the podcasts they've produced.
Who knows, maybe you'll be the next podcasting star they help launch.
If that's right. So until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, keep sharing your voice with the world.